The newest adaptation of Dune by Denis Villeneuve is set to cover the first part of Frank Herbert's iconic book, and in anticipation of this film, I've been exploring the unique characters and elements that make up this epic story. In this video, I'd like to explore the dread Imperial military force, the Sardaukar. These soldiers have quite the reputation in the universe of Dune. I'll consider where they come from and why they are so feared. I'll also take a look at the newest attempt to bring them to the big screen. The story of Dune begins thousands of years into the future, where humans are now living in a feudal interstellar society. The 81st Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV is the supreme ruler of the known universe. His house, House Carino, has managed to have kept an iron grip on the empire for over 10,000 years, and Shaddam has no intention of losing the throne now. He exerts powerful influence over the assembly of noble houses due to his significant voting powers and his control of the planet Arrakis, where the substance known as spice is harvested, a commodity on which all commerce and industry in the empire depends. The Emperor's considerable influence is also backed by an elite fighting force, and so his continued rule seems assured. It is well known among the other great houses that they would all have to combine their forces to rival the numbers and fierceness of House Carino's soldiers, the Sardaukar. Their reputation is such that the mere mention of the word Sardaukar is enough to inspire fear and terror. The arrogance and cold brutality of their presence is enough to send shivers down your spine. They are known as soldier fanatics, killers without mercy. Their fighting prowess, ruthlessness, and cunning are infamous. They are trained in hand-to-hand combat and in all manner of weaponry. It's not unusual for these soldiers to wield a melee weapon, such as a knife or sword in one hand, and a long-range weapon in the other, such as a stunner or a lasgun. A stunner is a slow pellet projectile weapon that fires poison or drug-tipped darts, and whose effectiveness varies depending on a target's personal shield settings. Traditional firearms have been rendered useless in this time where personal shields are in wide use. A personal defensive shield is a form-fitting energy field which permits penetration only by objects that move below a preset velocity. Lasguns are used at times depending on the situation. A lasgun is a continuous wave laser projector. However, these weapons are only used when shields are not deployed, as the reaction when a lasgun's beam intersects with a shield could cause a devastating nuclear explosion. As such, in this time when defensive shields are widely in use, melee weapons have become the preference for military forces, as well as different styles of sword fighting to take advantage of a shield's weakness. In shield fighting, one moves fast on defense, slow on attack. The Sardaukar are quite adept at sword fighting, to the point of rivaling the sword masters of Ginaz, where the great Duncan Idaho trained. They are also educated in the tools and techniques of an assassin. They are known to have cleverly concealed weapons on their person, knives, garrotes, and poison dart guns. Their covert abilities are reputed to approach that of a Bene Gesserit acolyte. There is a reason these soldier assassins have the reputation they do. One Sardaukar is rumored to match any 10 soldiers from the rest of the noble house's infantry. One mystery remains, however. How has the Emperor managed to amass and continually maintain such a large and formidable army? Where exactly does this elite corps of soldiers come from? The answer lies in the secret to their training. Salusa Secundus. To the public, this was once the homeworld of House Carino, and since the royal court's migration to the planet Kitane, it has since served as the imperial prison planet. Here, in this most inhospitable environment, lies the secret to the Carino's military strength, for it is here that the dreaded Sardaukar soldiers are forged into weapons of war. Training and conditioning begins from their infancy, a process so brutal it's estimated that 6 out of 13 are killed before age 11. As a result, those that survive come to have utter disdain for weakness. The training on this desolate planet filled with wild beasts, harsh terrain, and extreme fluctuations in temperature ensure that only the strongest and most ruthless survive to serve in the Imperial Army. It is ingrained in each soldier to use cruelty and terror as weapons themselves, and to have little to no regard for their own safety. Soldier fanatics is indeed an appropriate description for the Sardaukar. War is a religion to them. It encompasses their entire existence. They are bred to be instruments of the Emperor's will. The Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV will stop at nothing to ensure House Carino's continued reign. When Dune begins, he has already set in motion events to secretly eliminate a perceived threat to his rule. Duke Leto Atreides has been growing in influence and popularity among the other great houses in the Imperium. His leadership is marked by strength, prosperity, and fairness. The Atreides infantry has also been made into a force close to rivaling the Emperor's own soldiers due to the training of some of the best minds and warriors in the known universe. The Emperor perceives that Leto could be a threat to his reign and forges an unholy alliance with the Atreides' bitter enemy, the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. The Emperor orders Duke Leto and his house to oversee Arrakis. On the surface, this seems like an extremely generous gift, but in reality, it is a trap to rid the Emperor of a potential rival to his throne. The duplicitous Emperor Shaddam loans his special forces to strengthen the Harkonnen military as the Baron plots the downfall of the Duke. Arrakis, though it is the crown jewel of the Empire, is an even more deadly world than the one that molded the Sardaukar. Though the Emperor's forces are indeed worthy of their fearsome reputation, their overconfidence can be a devastating weakness. The harsh conditions on Arrakis have similarly formed yet another fearsome fighting force, one that Leto refers to as Desert Power. The wise and cunning Duke plans to befriend the greatly underestimated Fremen as an ally and to use this Desert Power as a means to defend their house from the nefarious plans of the Emperor and House Harkonnen. This sets the stage for a great conflict between the much-feared and famed Sardaukar and the underestimated and largely unseen forces of the native Fremen tribes scattered across the desert. Sardaukar soldiers typically wear uniforms and helmets that are gray and black with gold trim. They wear their hair long and are noted to have hawk-like features reminiscent of Duke Leto Atreides. The Emperor tries to hide his involvement in the scheme against the Atreides by making sure his troops wear Harkonnen uniforms. Though the Sardaukar are at times disguised for these covert operations, their unique combat style, as well as their sinister and arrogant demeanor, make them easily recognizable. In regards to previous attempts in portraying the Sardaukar, in David Lynch's 1984 film, these soldiers were dressed in what can be described as black hazmat suits. Most of the costumes from this film are well done, especially the design of the Fremen still suits. However, it seems the budget and creativity ran out when it came to these particular uniforms. In the 2000 Sci-Fi Channel miniseries, they were dressed in much more intricate, yet in my opinion, far less fearsome attire. I think the oversized hats were a bit too much, perhaps. Needless to say, I haven't been too pleased with these attempts to portray these sinister soldiers. In the newest adaptation by Denis Villeneuve, the images I've seen so far are definitely closer to how I imagined them. It appears from the official trailer for Dune that there are indeed two distinct militia groups, so it looks as though there won't be an attempt to have the Sardaukar in disguise as Harkonnen soldiers. It could be that Villeneuve decided not to include that particular detail from the book so as to distinguish the differences between the two. The Harkonnen soldiers appear to all have shaved heads and black uniforms, whereas the Sardaukar are seen in light gray uniforms and helmets. I can understand this creative choice as it would certainly make it easier in this format of storytelling to highlight the differences between these two armies. Overall, I'm quite pleased with their design, and I can't wait to see these fearsome foes in action. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy content. And let me know your thoughts on the Sardaukar and these different attempts to bring them to life on screen. What do you think about this newest design for them? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.